we're immensely pleased and privileged to have today's speaker. And I mentioned earlier Dr. Claire Pomeroy, who's president of the Albert and Mary Lasker Foundation. And that is really the foundation that oversees and promotes basic and translational research in the US. And it's really a beacon and a public leader in fostering treatment and prevention of disease, as well as public education and research advocacy. There's nobody more better equipped by credentials as well as style than Dr. Pomeroy to lead this incredibly distinguished foundation. Dr. Pomeroy is herself an internationally renowned scientist. She's an expert in infectious diseases and has been a long-time advocate for patients with chronic diseases, particularly with HIV and AIDS, and a great passionate advocate for public health. She is in her own right an accomplished scientific leader, with having published more than 100 articles and 3 scientific books. She, as you would expect from a distinguished career, serves on the board of many institutions. I'll mention just some. She's on the board of directors of the Association of the Academic Health Centers. She's immediate past chair of the Council of Deans of the American Association of the Association of American Medical Colleges. She's co-chair of the Blue Ridge Academic Health Group. She's on the board of trustees for Morehouse School of Medicine, and she was recently appointed also serving on the National Institute of Health Advisory Committee on Research on Female Health, and she's also a member of the VA Academic Affiliations Council, and she was elected and inducted into the National Academy of Medicine in 2011. Claire began her career at University of Michigan, where she did both her bachelor and her medical degree, and then went on to complete residency and fellowship training in internal medicine and infectious diseases at University of Minnesota. If that wasn't enough, she's also earned an MBA from the University of Kentucky, and she's held prominent faculty positions at University of Kentucky, at University of California, University of Minnesota, and most latterly at University of California in the role originally as Executive Vice Dean, and in 2005 until her current appointment was Vice Chancellor and Dean of their medical school. Beyond these extraordinary credentials, Claire is an individual of impeccable integrity. She is a remarkable human being, and I feel incredibly privileged to both present her to you today, as well as to call her a friend, a mentor, and a role model. You are in for an amazing speech. Claire, thank you so much.
Graduates, today is your day of celebration. Today, your hard work culminates in the great honor of receiving your MD degree. Today, your family, your friends, your community celebrate you, your dedication, and your successes. Because today, you officially join the most noble of professions, medicine. You will now dedicate your life to improving health and serving others. Congratulations. By virtue of the credential you now hold, people will turn to you at their most vulnerable moments. They will share with you, as with no other, the intimate details of their bodies, their darkest fears, and their dearest hopes for the future. They will turn to you with the trust that you will discover new knowledge, new medical insights, new cures. They will literally trust you with their lives. This trust is a gift and an honor. And always remember that this honor comes with great obligations. The obligation to use your knowledge to benefit others. The obligation to put patients' needs above your own and to embrace the value of altruism. You are graduating at an exciting time for VCU, the 180th anniversary of the school, and, by the way, the 100th anniversary of the first woman to be enrolled in this school, so congratulations on that, too. And yet you are graduating in an unprecedented time of challenge for our nation and for our profession. You will practice medicine in an era of tremendous change as you rise to address the urgent need to reform our healthcare system and achieve our mission of creating a healthier world. It has been said that change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through bold vision, continuous work, and unflagging dedication. This is what you are called upon to do. So, as you are hooded today, you are also accepting the charge to lead us in the change our country needs. Seize the moment. Lead the debate. Define a brighter future. Use the power of your education to redesign our care delivery system so that it is truly a health care system, not a sick care system. Use your knowledge to create a system that highlights prevention and wellness, a system that provides coordinated care, a system that is safe, accessible, affordable. Embrace your role as a societal leader, one who will work to correct the parts of the healthcare system that fail to serve the principles of social responsibility and social justice. The United States has led and achieved tremendous scientific breakthroughs in medical care, from vaccines to transplants to DNA sequencing to stem cell therapies and more. And VCU is an integral part of this. Your school has increased its federal research funding by 15% over just the last decade. All of these advances are extraordinary milestones of progress that we as health professionals and as a society can be proud of. But we cannot be proud of the fact that our country continues to experience unconscionable health inequities. Our healthcare system remains inaccessible and unaffordable for too many in our nation, and health outcomes fall far short of what a great nation like ours should achieve. The U.S. spends more per capita than any other country on healthcare, and yet has tragically disappointing outcomes. Despite spending almost twice as much per person compared to most other developed nations, we rank among the lowest in indicators ranging from infant mortality to life expectancy. You must proclaim that this is unacceptable. And our healthcare system today is characterized by shameful health disparities, disparities on the basis of race and ethnicity, geography, sexual orientation, immigration status, and socioeconomic class. Your health status should not be determined by the color of your skin or the zip code in which you live. You must proclaim that this is unacceptable. As Martin Luther King profoundly stated nearly 5 decades ago, of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane, and yet these disparities And inequalities are even more true today. Consider that black men without a high school diploma live an average of 14 years less than white men with a college degree, that people with the highest income live 10 to 15 years longer than those at the bottom income levels. These are statistics, but their importance is in the lives of real people. Graduates, you learned about these realities during your years here at VCU in your classrooms, but more importantly in the faces and the stories of those you cared for. You know that the need is urgent, that the failure to act is measured in human suffering, the cost of inaction is no longer bearable. Robert Kennedy said, each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. Graduates, together you can set in motion multiple ripples, and those ripples can come together as an uplifting wave to improve health for all. So how do you choose the ripples that you wish to make? As you embark on this journey, the answers will come, I believe, if you can discover and follow your own moral compass. And to do so, you must look inside yourself to identify your core values and use them as your guide. Our core values define who we are, what we prioritize, how we use the opportunities we are given. Our life experiences shape our core values, and those values in turn influence our life path. For most, our core values are rooted in our childhood. And for me, it began in a home that was full of abuse and fear. And by the time I was 14, the choice was clear: stay and risk my life, or leave and learn how to survive on my own. So I escaped, running into the dark night, just 14, scared, alone, uncertain where I would sleep or where I would get food to eat. And when a stranger gave me money to call a teen counseling center, I met people who found me a place to stay and helped me get into the foster care system. I lived in 4 foster homes. My first home was an emergency placement, and just as I was thinking maybe I could trust these people, it was time to go. From this, I learned about how hard it can be for the vulnerable and the abused to trust the system, even to caring. My second placement was with an African-American family who, though not quite knowing what to do with this blonde, blue-eyed white girl, opened up their home with kindness. I learned about race and equality and social justice. My third placement was also with an African-American family. They were welcoming, but I was still very wary. Then one day, I was doing the laundry, a load of whites, and I accidentally added a red sweatshirt. I was petrified. From my experiences growing up, I expected punishment and harsh words, and instead they said, "It's okay." And suddenly, we were united by a common color: pink. From them, I learned about compassion and forgiveness. And my final placement was with a couple who became foster parents just to take care of me. And to them, I will always be grateful. They saved my life. And I learned that by giving of ourselves, we can give life to others. I beat the odds. People ask me if my job today as president of the Lasker Foundation is hard, and I tell them that nothing is as hard as being a teenager alone, struggling to survive. In a lot of ways, I was lucky. I had foster parents who took care of me, teachers who believed in me. But I saw a lot of other kids who were not so lucky. Kids who were failed by the system. Kids whose society was willing to throw away. Kids who saw no future and therefore gave up hope. And from these children, I learned what really matters. From their teachings, my core values of caring for the vulnerable and fighting for social justice were born, and those core values have been my moral compass. Now, I went on to complete medical school, as you heard, my training in infectious disease, and I entered practice just as a new, unknown, and at that time terrifying disease called HIV/AIDS began claiming the lives of previously healthy gay men. And I saw young men who looked like old men, their bodies failing painfully and catastrophically from a devastating fatal illness. And I saw them experience heartbreaking rejections, even in death, from family, friends, and work colleagues who could not accept that they were gay. I found myself working in a society and in a healthcare system that too often rejected and stigmatized my patients. And as I established the first HIV/AIDS clinic at the Minneapolis VA, I fought for those men against unfair judgment and abandonment. I will always be grateful to the patients I worked with during those early years of the epidemic. They taught me that sometimes you have to push the system to do what is right, to work toward the greater good. They taught me what courage is, and that love and acceptance are ultimately more powerful than hate and stigma, that caring will always be stronger than rejection and discrimination. And through this work, I was given the opportunity to live my core values. So I share with you one piece of advice. Embrace your core values and understand what gives meaning to your life so that you can know the right way to give meaning to other people's lives. Starting the AIDS clinic, living in foster homes, surviving on the street as a teenager are the experiences that have led me to live every day of my life serving one primary purpose: helping the most vulnerable. For me, my core values are stirred to passion by the reminder that, as many have said, the greatness of society is defined by the way it treats its most vulnerable members. And patients will bring much more than health challenges to your clinic. They will bring the harsh realities of life, and their health issues will frequently represent symptoms of the disappointing inequalities in society. And this means that to care for them, you, must be community leaders who address social issues. Raise your voice to educate others what we know to be true, that health is determined only in small part, about 10%, by the care delivered in hospitals and clinics. That a much larger part is due to the social determinants, factors such as income, education, safe housing, job opportunities, access to healthy foods, all the circumstances in which we live, work, and play. And addressing these social determinants, these fundamental drivers of health status, is a big task. But it is one that your time here at VCU has prepared you to take on. This is your time to live your core values and attain the ultimate goal of making people's lives healthier and society stronger, kinder, and more just. You are the future of this country's well-being. And I am confident that each of you will help fill the world with hope, happiness, and health. I ask only that you heed Harriet Tubman's call to action, as she said, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Congratulations, class of 2018. Live your dream, change the world.